Hi there, everyone. And this week's case study, we're going to talk about how this particular case resulted in an extra $1.5 million, potentially in extra money to spend during retirement. And that might seem like a big claim. Hold on, I'm going to show you exactly how this came about. But it comes about mainly because of people's apathy, complacency, and procrastination about their super. So for most Aussies, we get into super based on where we went to work or where our parents were in super. We go into that super fund, we leave it alone. We tend not to touch it, and it just stays there. Now, this can result in a large portion of people underperforming. And I'm going to say 80% of people plus don't get into their super with enough detail to make really good decisions. They're happy for it to be vanilla, potentially safe, but not optimizing. And what we want to do here is optimize. So let's dive in. Firstly, just a quick general advice warning. Everything I talk about in these case studies is designed to be useful and helpful and to prompt you to make good decisions, but you shouldn't act on anything without getting advice that's specific to your own circumstances. So let's dive in. Firstly, our 5-step framework that we use as part of our approach that creates what we call a real financial plan for people. So firstly, and we don't make any decisions unless we do a plan. And that's because we believe the best financial decisions are made as part of a long-term plan. Plan has goals which are meaningful based on what you need for a good life in retirement and other things. We make sure we've got a crystal clear picture of your current financial world, right down to the nitty gritty, how good the super is, all that sort of stuff, how good the mortgage is. But today we're focusing on the super. So we're just going to focus on one strategy today. There's many strategies that we look at, but today I'm just going to focus on one strategy. And we're actually only going to focus on one part of that strategy. So we're not going to add any money. We're not going to add extra contributions, salary sacrifice. We're just going to get the super optimized by getting the right risk return, the right profile, the right investment options in the right fund. So let's have a look at this client, and I'll jump over to our software. Sorry, let me get there. Here we go. Where we've put in their details. So let me start off with the clear picture. I'll come back to the goal in a minute. So I've just taken a simple snapshot of these people's world. So 200,000 each, earning 90,000, and they're in a very average and at the moment underperforming super fund. Now, maybe it's temporary, maybe it's up or down, but it's very average and it's costing them money. So let's have a look at that. So 200,000 each, and the green bars here is projection of their current situation. So I'm not going to look at all the other good strategies we look at, concessional contributions, non-concessional contributions, adding future salary increase into super. We're just going to look at what we call appropriate risk profile. So we've assumed the current fund, and this might be generous, will get them about a 5% long-term return after fees. And that's going to get them 200,000 each, so 400,000 is going to grow to about 1.7 million. And that can sound like a lot of money, but it's future dollars. Let's see what that actually needs. So we'll go back and we'll put in a basic goal, 80,000 for life. 80,000 for life would need right now, in today's dollars, about 1.44 million. So 1.44 million in today's dollars, held in super, everything else being equal, debts paid off, would give someone 80,000 for life, and that 80,000 would go up with inflation. Yeah, and that would be a good retirement. How long would that last? So I will show you. So 1.44 million in today's with 80,000, which is 6,667 a month, with a return of 7.5%, would last about 42 years. So lock that in. I'm going to compare some returns in a minute and some results. So yeah, that's how we get our numbers. And 42 years for most people in their 60s, if they're retiring, will take them beyond age 100, which yeah should be enough. And this ignores that Centrelink kicks in as people assets reduce over time, often inheritances and other things. But we like to be conservative to make sure people won't have to worry about money in their 80s and 90s. So back to their current situation, and then let's tweak the super. So let's ramp it up. Let's get the right risk profile. Let's get the right asset allocation, the right investment options in the right funds. And that can be complex. Most people are going to need some help with that because it can be complex. You've got to make sure you're seeing the right people who have no vested interest in where they're putting your super. But let's assume we get a 7.5% return, which is inflation plus 5%, which is the long-term historical average of a balanced to growth fund in Australia over the last 60, 70 years. So it's a reasonable average. It's an average that we've found works well for our planning for clients. And we've been looking after retired clients for just coming up to 25 years. So it's worked well, that assumption. It's not too big. We're not being speculative, not being pie in the sky. It's not too small that it's not realistic or encourages underperformance. So 7.5%. What does that change it to? Well, it adds an extra 613,000. So it's going to build to 2.3 million now instead of 1.7. So we go back to that scoreboard and it says, yep, goal reached. We've just gone over that goal. Let's assume we get to that goal of about 2.2. So once again, that's 1.4 million in today's dollars. So 80,000 now, 42 years. Let's have a look though at if they don't make the changes. So the 1.7 million that they would get to is only worth 1 million in today's dollars in the same time frame, 18 years. And let's assume they were still in their underperforming fund. What if impact that would have in their lifetime? Well, if they still pulled out 80,000, they're going to run out of money. Now, most people don't run out of money. They spend less and grumble about it. And they'll also qualify for some age pension, which is useful in Australia. But let's have a look at if they chose to spend less and preserve that drawdown for the same 42 years. So we know that if they get the super right, they're going to have 80,000 a year for the next 42 years. So we work out that if they left it at that 5.5%, 3,600 a month is all they're going to have. Now, 3,600 a month compared to 6,600 a month, about 3,000 less per month, which is about 36,000 a year times 42 years, $1.5 million. So if they get this right, they can spend $1.5 million more than if they're complacent, if they're apathetic, or if they make mistakes, by the way, because people can get less return than they should by either being complacent, either being apathetic, by choosing a conservative risk profile, but also chopping and changing and making mistakes when things go wrong. But that's a whole nother story. So not pie in the sky here for this couple. Just that one decision is a boost over their whole lifetime, over their retirement of about 1.5 million of extra spending. I hope this is useful and helpful. I hope it maybe shakes some of you out of complacency and apathy, but also just gets you to potentially do something, whether it's with someone else or with us, to work out what you're heading for so you can get more confident in your own super. So we offer, for the right type of people that suit our clients, a free strategy session, and you can jump on board to reserve that meeting, and we'll see if you qualify for that meeting. So you can do that by jumping on our website. It's easy to find, McGregor Wealth Management, or clicking on the link below, and that'll take you to a system where you can book a meeting in with one of my awesome team. And in that first meeting, we'll go through exactly the same things that we've just been through in that case study. Assessing your super, looking at where your strategies are heading you at the moment, and what value we can add on top of that. Hopefully this has been helpful. Look forward to talking soon. Rob McGregor signing off.